Right at it. Right at it. Oh, he's done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
It's episode 52 of the Go Get That podcast, Scottish Open recap. I'll lead us off here. I think Jordan finished tied for 10th. We're recording this Sunday night, so you're getting our pretty close to live reaction about 8 hours later, fresh off of it. You can't be mad with this week. I know Sunday contention, when you don't win, it's going to be frustrating, but I know all of us came in with expectations being a lot lower than a top 10. You can't be too mad. Everything was working at some point. He looked a lot better than he did at the Travelers. At least Travelers Thursday looked a lot better than he did at the US Open, and was back in contention for the first time in 6 weeks. So I think you got to take that.
Yeah. As a fellow member of our chat stated, I've been getting better at giving credit for these statements, but this was a textbook major prep week. And that sort of hit me like right where how I wanted to sum this week up. A lot happened, and they're just like, it has me feeling a lot better about St. Andrews, but not necessarily the way he played. I just felt like it was really convincing and very nice to see him up there again with not his best, because he was not the best ball striker in the world this week at all. He had a lot of good shots, but he had a lot of like horrific shots. So, again, I don't think we really deserve this at any point this week, so I'm not that upset. It did kind of feel like he got away during the middle of the round, but in the end, Xander ran away with it, and he was not losing today. So, it is what it is. We're definitely going to talk a little. This is probably going to be more of a Xander than a Spieth podcast, because I know Dan has a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on Xander, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, I mean, what a win. I mean, he's on fire. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I think we're all in agreement. So I was thinking about this a little bit, and the kind of two perspectives I had or came up with that I thought could kind of impact how you felt about the week. One of them being the I'm here to win the tournament perspective, like as a fan. And I think you'd be pretty frustrated by this week, because there were a lot of mistakes, a lot of dumb bogeys, a lot of poor shots when you weren't expecting them. He certainly had the birdies. He made 2 eagles in one round. He had the firepower this week to be up there and win. He even got the good draw, and he finished T10. So from that perspective, it's disappointing. But from a major prep perspective, this was about as perfect as a major prep as you can have, because he tasted contention, right? He was there. He made a birdie in contention, right? Like he hit that wedge shot to 3 feet when he needed to. On
it was
13.
so sensual. Like that brought me back.
Right. But it's like,
that was a shot of the day.
Yeah, he's down 2, and you got to make some birdies.
Because I think we look past that shot. The thing that makes links golf so tough, besides the wind, is that it is so incredibly hard to put one really close because of the bounces and the contours of the green, that most of the time you're going to be leaving yourself
Contours.
Like 7, 8, 10 footers for birdie, like testers. It's really tough to put one to like 2 feet like a tap in that you have in the States. That was an unbelievable shot.
So he felt the pressure of being in contention. He was in the penultimate group on Sunday, so he felt it pretty much all day until probably after 15, probably 14, but 15. He probably felt it. He made some putts this week, not a bunch of long ones. but I don't think he missed a couple mid single digit foot putts, some 7-8 footers, but you're going to miss a couple of those. I can't think of a 3 or 4 footer that was stupidly pulled or pushed, or like I'm trying to remember, but nothing is coming across. So there's some good there. He's already across the pond. He's played a lot of golf on that turf now. So I think it's just overall a good major prep week, and he's got things to improve on. Like there's
Yes.
clearly some things that need some work going into next week. And I think that's also part of the perfect major prep week, is not to play perfect golf. Like Xander didn't even play that great on Sunday, but he's been playing so good for so long that it's like, all right, it's hard to maintain it, right? It's hard to maintain a really good level of golf. So to try and peak at the right time and try and work towards things, and there's still plenty of work to be done. And Jordan mentioned it on his Instagram post, this Jordan on the podcast, Jordan. About the lag putting was off and on this week. There were very few tap-ins, I felt like, on the weekend for par. Short game was inconsistent. Long irons, the par 3 play was abysmal, really bad. Like I don't know how else to describe it.
I don't have any words for the par 3. I mean, I've never seen anything like it from him.
Yeah, no,
it's kind of weird too. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's kind of it is weird, and I'm not gonna sit away and I'm sorry to interrupt too, but I just want to get this out of the way. Like I know 153 yards and 140 yards. Some of the par 3s are short, and there's wind that you have to take into fact. It's harder than the yardage is, but I mean, he was shouting 4 on a 150-yard shot. Like,
well, yes, today 6 on Sunday. I felt like that's just that's such a
6 is a great hole, by the way.
And if you if you little too much draw, you're in a bunker, and it's tough. It is what it is.
Yeah, that
he made a great bogey there too, which was nice.
Yeah, 14
was embarrassing.
Like, what's funny is he ended up in that spot two of the other 3 days when
he was short like every day there.
Yeah, he was basically right where that flag was. And but hey, that's a good shot to know. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Open last year, in a sense of like, there's just a couple things that need to be cleaned up. And last year's Open, you think about the mistakes that specifically Saturday and then the start of Sunday, that kind of cost him the tournament, right? And so hopefully he's kind of gotten those all out of his system, knows what to work on. And, for that reason, I think if you went into this week not expecting to win the tournament and it was purely a major prep week, this was an A+ week for me.
I think from like a positive side here, like I know the par 3 play was awful, but I thought his wedge play from the fairway on par 4s is really good.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be massive going into next week. I mean, he holed one, he hit one really closely on 13, as Bob said. Like there were some really good signs with the wedges from the fairway. From the tee box is a whole another story. I mean, 14 on Sunday played under par, and he doubled it. I mean, that was brutal. And it shouldn't have been a double. It should have been bogey at worst.
Yeah. I want to go back to what Dan said for a second. He was talking about how if you look at everything, it's like an A+ week. If you take everything else,
if it's a major prep, if you look at it like purely,
and I agree. I think that it was a great major prep week. But again, I feel like, as tends to be the case a lot with Jordan, the placement just doesn't tell the story of the week. It was just so much happened. He was leading on Thursday with 5 straight birdies, had a bad second round. It wasn't devastating. I mean,
it should have been more though. The score was not through 10 holes. It was good, and then it was
yesterday. He didn't play nearly as well as 4 under par, but he made 2 eagles. So, I mean, it was just a really weird. Like, if you look at the start of the week and say, all right, you finished T10, Xander won by a shot, he's playing really well. You look at it and you're like, all right, I'm feeling great. We're winning the Open by 12 shots, right? But like, so much happened in between Thursday at 3 a.m. and Sunday at whatever it was, 2, 3. Like, it was such a weird, so much happened. It was a really weird week. And the placement doesn't even begin to tell the story. So yes, I would have taken the T10. I'm pretty content with how it happened. Again, I think it was really convincing that once again, you sort of get in that links golf feel. As I never do, I'm going to probably later go in to speak very highly of the putter this week. But he was getting a feel for links golf. He was trying some new shots. There were some shots that were just excusable again. To miss 50 yards left in a 150-yard par 3 can't happen. To chunk a 40-yard shot when a birdie gets you right there, it's embarrassing. But again, you can play links golf shots a very different way. He's starting to get back in that feel. And again, I think given that he did not have anywhere close to his best stuff this week, I think that there were a lot of positives to come out of it being a major prep week.
Yeah, he made mistakes in every aspect of the game. Like, there wasn't one kind of part of the game that you could point to where, there's nothing, not too much, not concern, but there's not too much to like fix up there, right? Like, the driver had its moments, but it also had these moments of, 18 today was so far right.
Did he care though? In his defense,
that's true. That's true. And it looked like he slipped or whatever, but
it was
when
bad.
he needed it at 11, he didn't get it. And some of the par 5s earlier in the week didn't quite get it right. So the driver, obviously we talked about the iron shots on the par 3s. Chunked the wedge today on 10. Chunked one earlier in the week on maybe Saturday on 5 that led to bogey.
Yeah.
So that could use some work. Flag putting was
below
not
average.
great. He cleaned up from 4 feet pretty well, which was nice. But he also had a couple 6-footers after a 45-foot putt that you're like, what? How is that so off? But
I'm kind of cherry picking here, but he didn't miss anything inside 5 feet. I know he missed like a couple 6-footers, but he didn't miss anything inside 5 feet.
Which, for Spieth,
is a big step in the right direction.
That is phenomenal. Does he deserve a round of applause?
Professional doesn't miss inside 5 feet.
I'm just gonna say it. Not to toot me and Jordan's horn, but we kind of said that this would like be a step in the right direction for the putter before this week happened, which was it would maybe that was just as being too positive because we've probably said that a few times this year. But again, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really promising. He didn't make it, but like no one makes every putt. Like he putted well enough this week to win for the first time in a very long time. The putter is not what took him out of this tournament.
No.
which is a sigh of relief, right? Like that every time that he's lost in brutal fashion recently, it's like, and another thing is a putter's cost him all the recent majors too, being in contention. So I think that it wasn't fescue greens, but they were slower and they were that linksy feel. They got bumpy on Sunday, which is just how links is. I think he hit a lot of putts past the hole this week, which was good. Obviously didn't think that the 11-footer coming back for bogey on 14 was the ideal situation at the moment, but better that than being 11 feet short like he has been recently. It's just, there's a positive to take from that. He's gained a lot of confidence with it. He feels like he can hit them harder because he knows they're not as fast, which is weird because usually he's been someone who's loved the fast greens, but I feel like the slow greens are a good change of pace for him because he's been struggling on the fast greens throughout the tour season. He had some strokes inside of like 12 feet this week, like 12, 10, 8 feet this week that were some of the best strokes I've seen from him all year.
Yeah.
So love to see it. What was that par putt that he had?
17 yesterday.
No, it was today. It was like 7 feet, and he slammed it right in. It like hit the back of the hole and dropped.
Was it for
He walked
par?
in. Yes,
par or
it was
bogey?
it was on 10 after he
Oh yeah.
flagged it. Yeah, like that. That
Okay.
was like
Yeah,
hallelujah, right?
he did make quite a few 8 to 12 footers this week. Granted, he probably shouldn't have had some of those putts, right? But like to make them, that's got to feel good.
Confidence wise, yeah, mentally.
Yeah, and you're gonna have some of those in a major, and just to kind of read them and see them go in, I think it certainly can't hurt, right? Certainly doesn't hurt. That's for sure. So
Yeah, I think the
go
one
ahead.
thing about this week that's like it's good prep for the Open. I just wish this course was a little more St. Andrewsy. I figured we talk about that a little bit. This course was, I was mentioning it in the group chat a little bit. Like, did you guys like this course?
I did.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it, but I agree that it wasn't. It felt like I'm trying to figure out how to describe it, but it felt like a normal. It felt like a normal golf course, sort of in Scotland, but like that's not describing it right. But
No,
it's
I
feel
kind
you.
of got like Whistling Street vibes.
That's
Yeah.
fair. I see that.
The fescue was kind of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Um, but
Well, yeah,
again,
you can't have it.
I'm
like-
not going to take that for granted because, well, he was in the fescue a lot and pulled a few good lives that led to really big shots. So, but everyone did. So I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying about the course. Like, you're at the home of golf, and this place opened in 2007.
Yeah,
Like, I just feel like there's a missed opportunity there to play a place a little more historic. If you get what I'm trying to say. I know a lot of them are in like the open rotation, so I don't think they
Yeah.
can use them. But like,
true.
I know a lot of the golf course like buff Twitter accounts were saying kind of the same thing. Like, they wish this could have been played somewhere else. Like,
That's
freaking Max Homa went to play like North Berwick after his round one day because
Right.
he saw that place on YouTube and it looks sick. But
Yeah. No, and I agree. I think too, this course probably the builders had some intentions of making it more of a course for hosting tour tournaments,
yeah.
like to get more people in and stuff like that. And it's not bad.
No.
It's just you would want to see like we'd take the Renaissance Club over most normal PGA Tour stops.
90%.
I thought it was a sick course.
Yeah,
There wasn't
It's
anything
just-
wrong with it. There was some really cool
it's
holes.
like,
But you're
I
right,
feel like
yeah.
you could have picked a more like Scottish course, I think.
I think it was plenty Scottish. It was just, again, it was it was so new. Like you could tell it was new.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, they're playing on
greens,
what,
the
bent grass
greens, the
They're not
greens were
fescue
like
greens.
And grass, yeah.
the greens felt new. But
Yeah.
again,
It's just a small complaint. I'd much rather him play this course than any TPC course or any,
Well,
random
yeah,
tour
and,
course.
and we're gonna get all the old classic home of golf, purely Scottish next week, right? Like that's
yes.
the St.
Well-
Andrews is the ultimate,
I want to say
and it's exciting.
one thing about what I was saying about the Mickey Mouse fescue is, yes, the Mickey Mouse fescue helped us this week because the driver had its issues, but next week, off the tee shouldn't be an issue. The fairways are so wide at St. Andrews. If he misses fairways, he's gonna be out of the tournament because nobody's gonna be missing many fairways there. There isn't even a missed fairway on 1 and 18. So unless you're in the water or out of bounds in the hotel. So I mean, he can have a lot of freedom with the driver next week. He's got to know what holes to hit iron, I think.
Yeah.
And he's got to know what he can try things. Like he can try low runners off the tee if he wants. Cause like if you miss it on a lot of the holes, you're fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Speaking of iron, Mr. 3 Iron, I thought had a pretty good performance this
it
week.
did have a good performance.
He was great on the third hole. I think he birdied it. Was it maybe only 2 days, but he was great off the tee. It's a tough hole for him because like driver brings more trouble. So we hit 3-iron every day. But when you hit 3-iron, he found the fairway. He was between like 3-iron and wood every single day.
Yeah.
And
I was a huge it was such a nice hold on. It was such a nice thing to see him at iron off of par 5 and know he'd still be able to get there.
Yeah, I mean he's got 290 and he's running 3-iron. It's just so cool.
Right.
Yeah. So it was nice because he's always struggled to hit the fairway on a par 5. So
then we'll have Mr. 3-iron in the bag instead of Mr. Hybrid, which is
Mr. Hybrid was left in the States.
Mr. Hybrid does not translate well to the home of golf.
It doesn't translate anywhere really.
But Mr. Iron 3 was certainly pretty good this week. I feel pretty good about Mr. Iron 3 going forward.
It's gonna get its work next week, I think, off quite a few tees. I really do.
Well, it'll be interesting because I watched obviously the whole broadcast today. So they started talking about it once they knew that Xander was gonna shut the door. And Faldo was pointing out there's 5 drivable 4s next week. You know,
I mean, if it's firm, there's
2 par 3s. So it's just a lot of par.
I mean,
and
yeah,
how many, there's going to be a lot of drivers to be going for those par 4s, but so we'll have to figure out
what is so
kind of chips in next week.
So 9, 10.
He
12,
was saying 12, 18, and 3. And
That's so it will be so cool if 18 is drivable on Sunday. That's so cool to me.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually,
I'm a huge fan. I've always been I've always wanted a drivable 18th hole.
I think if it's drivable because it's fast and firm,
yeah,
that's fine. If it's drivable and they can I don't know. I just want to, if there's a lot of drivable 4s, I want to see balls bouncing around in the spots that are tough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to want to think about going for it because if you go over the back and you end up in this one spot, you have a 3 in 10 chance of getting it within 10 feet.
Well, I think everyone needs to be prepared next week that the winning score could be quite low.
Yeah. I have seen some stuff that it's playing pretty spicy already at Mr.
Andrews. Fast.
Yeah.
That's the only defense. I mean,
and the winds, they're not expecting much rain at all next week. So, and obviously that can change because it's Scotland, but windy, it's been pretty warm.
Well, yeah, the wind wasn't expected to be big this week. So
yeah. And
I think the wind for Scotland this week was so. It didn't blow, it blew, but I mean, it's obviously
more than we thought
on the water.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think it's always going to blow more than what the Weather Channel says, or the weather, whatever you look at. I think it just is, which is good and exciting because I think Mr. Andrews is going to be a good test, I think. And I hope, because I think it could also be, if they get some rain and then the winds quiet down, it could be a very unfortunate wedge fest for a major, which would kind of suck.
Yeah, I think just the emphasis on the firm and fast at St. Andrews, his par 3 play was horrible this week. There's only 2 at St. Andrews. My main thing is he's got to tighten up the short game. Chunks on 10 cannot be happening. And some of even 18 today, I don't know if his head was in it or not. That's a pretty easy pitch up the hill. 11 feet's just not going to cut it. He's going to need to have the short game a lot, I think, tighter. And I think that's just one of the pros of going over early, because you just can see how it's going to react playing the Scottish. And hopefully he takes some of the work that he got in this week into St. Andrews.
Yeah. No, I think that's why he wanted to play the Scottish the whole time.
I also think
last year at the Open, right? With him kind of throwing away a couple shots because you just make mistakes, right? And you need to learn what to fine tune and how to hit certain shots. So I think this was a good place to kind of do that.
I also think he just loves links golf. Like he loves it. So I think he enjoyed getting back out there this week, and I think that this will become a consistent
Really,
spot.
Yeah.
With the
Because he had that issue with the European Tour a few years ago that might have
been a while now.
that might have been the reason why he never played before, was co-sanctioned. So
Yeah.
I said
Well,
something like, I don't even know what I said, but I was trying to say like 2 words at once. Yeah.
we need more co-sanctioned events in Europe.
Yeah. I'm
Give me a
hoping they
link
do-
swing.
I
Yeah,
hope they
there
do
we
the
go.
Irish.
The
That would be
Irish.
cool.
That should
The what's it?
They got to put it at a better course though.
The
Ireland has some
BMW PGA
unbelievable-
Championship.
Yeah.
Like
Put
give us
that the
more
week
links.
after the Open and give us a 4-week.
Yeah.
That would be
Uh-huh.
dope because like no one plays the Wyndham in the.
Yeah. That is kind of the problem though, is like then you put it on the John Deere and the 3M, which aren't great events anyway, but
We could put on Mr. Mortgage.
I'll do Mr. Mortgage. Like
Or
I'm
Mr.
fairly
Mortgage.
confident I'm gonna be there.
That has to be my least favorite course on tour. Not even like, it's just like we talk about Torrey Pines being like 480
least
yards down the middle every hole. That
a
course is like
test.
420 yards down the middle every time. Like it's just
It's old, man.
Yeah. And it's
it's an easier, shorter, rough version of Torrey Pines.
Yeah. And the problem is late July in Detroit, it gets just hot and muggy and you get thunderstorms and stuff. So it's just soft and wet, right? And they're never gonna get it to be crisp. And that's unfortunate for them. I don't know why we're talking about,
No, yeah, we should probably go into
Mortgage,
Xander
but-
Schauffele.
but yeah, Shoffley's cooking right now.
He's
I don't know
cooking.
what else to say. I mean,
He's
You guys got your
solid.
agendas. This is all on you.
yeah,
No, my agenda's dead. My agenda's gone. I will give Xander Schauffele all I see. I don't dislike Xander Schauffele. I just had the agenda. All right, let's get that clear. I'm not a Xander Schauffele hater by any means.
Yeah,
I had
don't
the
think-
agenda.
I don't think
It's dead.
we are.
No.
I don't think I ever hated Xander. It built on the agenda that he
Yeah,
found a way to
exactly.
lose.
I've never been able to get into him purely because of the fact that he just doesn't show much emotion.
Yeah,
But I've never been a hater of his.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to give him all the credit that he's due because winning the Travelers and then the JP Prime, which isn't a win, but that's still a good 2-day performance.
and he smoked everybody too.
He smoked
Like,
everyone.
yeah,
He's a two-time winner this year. Zurich just shouldn't count either. But
Zurich isn't a win, no. But that doesn't make the 2 wins that he has had any less impressive.
no, not at all.
Travelers is a good field, and Scottish is a
Great field.
very good field. The best field, basically, besides the majors players and maybe 1 or 2 others.
yeah, and he was in the bad wave too. Like he
Yeah.
started +2 on Thursday, then just was like, nah, this is my tournament. And went 65, 66 Friday, Saturday, which is stupid good. And then today, like you could tell he was hitting some hooks. Like he was hitting some draws that were drawn quite a bit, but he figured it out. He gave the lead, to Kitayama, who also played really well this week, but charged back, made the birdie on 14. And after that, it was like, all right, this is his tournament. 15, really a couple solid shots. 16, I thought was impressive. The tee shot, I mean, he hit 2 big hooks into the middle of the green and then rolled it up and tapped it in basically. So to get that extra cushion for 17 and 18, and then obviously 17, that was a big up and down to make 18.
Walk in
Pretty
the park.
easy. Yeah. Well, yeah, he went iron into 18 and actually played it just about how everybody else had played it. So that was pretty cool. But I guess that what happens when you're just slinging that draw through that wind. But man, yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy how Scheffler and Schauffele, we've had 2 really impressive runs And obviously Schauffele's isn't close to the run that Scheffler had, but like we've had two dudes who have been pretty clearly at the top of the game for stretches like this. And I think it's pretty rare that you get two guys in a season, let alone just one. So,
and you could even count a 2.5 if you count Cam Smith at the beginning.
Yeah, I was
of the
gonna say
year.
that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about
He won
Cam,
what, 2 or 3?
He won the Century and then he won the Players.
Yeah.
But it's not really like back to back. It's not.
But he was up there.
A little more spaced out. Yeah, no, he wasn't not playing well. Just like Scheffler won 4 times in like 3 months, and then Xander's obviously won 2 tournaments in the past 3 weeks, so kind of different. If he gets a major, man, that's good for him. I'm sure he's feeling good about St. Andrews. There's not really a hole in his game. I do worry a little bit. I guess I don't watch a ton of Xander, but I wonder how like creative his short game is. I feel like that's going to be necessary this week, and I'm not sure he's got maybe the short game arsenal that you might need, although he might just be good enough to simply hit a bunch of really good, just flush everything and then make a couple putts and be there. He'll be there.
If you're hitting greens, you don't need your short game. And he hit
exactly
a ton of greens this week. So, I mean, that'll work. Speaking of, just one more course note, since we were talking about Renaissance Club, the 18th hole, that was a heck of a finishing hole. I mean, that was, I think Justin Ray put it out on Twitter, the hardest singular hole in a non-major since 2007. Like, think about that. 15.
Which hole was that?
18. I mean, there were.
Yeah.
Hold on, I think I said it
That's
earlier.
awesome. 6 birdies, I think, right?
6 birdies for the week.
The whole week, which is sick. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great finishing hole.
It is. I mean, it helps obviously the wind direction, right? Who knows if it's like that every year. Like you said it on IG on Saturday when he was on the tee, you said you got to sack up and hit one here. You have to sack up twice on that hole.
Yeah.
To make a 4.
It's brutal. I mean, you're hitting like a good tee shot there goes like 260, and then you got 200 that plays like this 230 for your second. So
right,
it's awesome. I mean, I know Bob was talking about a good drivable par 4 for the last. I love a good tough hole, like 18 here, 18 at Augusta, 18 Southern Hills.
Yeah.
Like you got to sack up and finish strong, or you're. I mean, we saw what Mito did.
Sack up. I love that phrase.
You can thank Mikey for it. Who really wanted his Genesis.
Yeah, he did really want that Genesis. That was funny, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah. He was like, dude, why can't you win me? Like,
yeah.
And Jordan was like trying to like make it seem like only he'd get it.
Yeah.
Like, and
Mikey read the sign.
He was like not happy. He was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Read the sign.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this. And maybe it was just this week. Because I know the DP World Tour does a lot of good stuff in terms of content, like short videos and whatnot on Twitter or Instagram. I feel like the PGA Tour is like trying a little bit more when it comes to the content stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
But it's also, I guess I don't have anything like negative to say about it.
Well, nothing will live up to the European Tour's like
challenges that they
challenges
do.
and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not talking about
the short clips. Yeah, I mean they're getting better.
But I like the short clips.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear what I don't know, Spieth. I want to hear what Spieth has to say about anything, but I want to hear what Rahm has to say about whatever. And like,
you really want to hear what Rahm says after his bad shots.
Yeah, exactly. And like they posted Tiger taking a swing on 18 at Mr. Andrews, right? Like that's, even though, we're not the biggest Woods fans, that's still going to get a lot of views and still going to get a lot of like, I thought for a while they should have been upping their content game, and it seems like they're moving in that direction. So
that's how you like get, that's that's the opposite of live golf too. That's actually growing the game. Because like when young kids get on social media and they see videos of guys like the golfers actually showing their personalities, like that's what people want to see.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So,
we got anything else?
so we have the.
Go
What'd
ahead.
you say?
I was
We
just
have
gonna. I definitely have something else I want to talk about, but it's not necessarily Scottish related.
Okay, well that's
Go ahead, Bob.
let's after. We have the U.S. Open.
U.S. Open.
U.S. Open.
I'm really
My
tired.
goodness.
These 4 days of 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then 8:30 wake up this morning. So I watch Wimbledon have been rough on me. So the Open, not the British Open, the Open preview Wednesday live. We'll have Elise on, of course, who's the only reason you even watch the previews, because you just want free money. And that should be fun.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say. Hopefully my cough's gone by then. I've had a raging cough fit. I've like been worn out because of how much I've been coughing. Like I get done with a fit and I'm just like,
Yeah.
So what did you want to say, Dad?
Well, so okay, I've got a couple things.
I do too. So.
One of them.
Well, warn all the people who want to leave now.
No, I think this is good.
Oh, okay.
So first off, Mr. Jug was at the Renaissance Club, which was very cool. He was right by the Scottish Open trophy on the first tee. It's nice to see Mr. Jug back. It was nice of Morikawa to give it back. He was bad this week. Anyway, we had the golf monthly report happen this week too.
Oh yes.
And I figure we got to talk about that a little bit at least, right?
Okay.
Because Jordan is not going to live.
Nope.
And he tweeted about it, and his Colt Nose tweeted about it.
Golf Monthly.
It seems to have all kind of stemmed from little Bobby Blute.
No, well, I'll come from my point of view here.
He's entitled to an opinion.
I was getting killed on Twitter, which by all means go ahead. Like, I mean, I'll take hits when I deserve it. And I made a mistake, not the mistake that most people think I did. I usually fact check and make sure I have at least 2 sources on everything I tweet to make sure it's credible. And I had that. What I misjudged was that it seems pretty evident now that Liv is feeding multiple names to people to keep themselves in the news, which I've heard reports of, but I didn't really think about it because we had more cow in there, and that never stemmed anything. It seems like that's their way of keeping everyone in the news. So my mistake there was not seeing that. I should have seen that coming. However, it was a wild, what was it? Thursday, Friday. So
yeah, I can't remember.
I'll go back and I'll go back to where it all started. I was on my phone at like 5:30 on Thursday night, and I just fell asleep, like face forward on my bed, like other side, pillow was by my feet. Like I was done for the day. And then I woke up at like 10 and saw this report, and I tweeted about it, and then I went to bed thinking nothing. Like I didn't think people would take it seriously. Like I never thought he was going. I thought he was just considering it.
Wait,
what'd you say?
Was it you tweeted it Thursday?
I tweeted Thursday at like 10:30, 11.
Yeah, no, okay. That's right.
And like I never thought he was going. I thought that it was very possible that he was considering it, just because I was assuming that it was probably an incredible sum of cash, which anyone would consider. I was assuming it was like way up there, which I didn't think meant anything because I didn't think he'd go. I think that in the end he'd realize it would be too risky, and he's too young, and if everything fell through, he'd tarnish everything. Like he makes so much money from sport. Like he's like an icon in sport.
He makes. I think he's like
it just wouldn't make sense for him.
$85 million anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just wouldn't make sense for him to go. So I never thought he was going to go, but I did have two people. And I'm not going to give them up because I don't leak my sources, but one of them is someone who's nailed almost everyone on the head. He never told me that he was going, but he told me the same exact thing that Golf Monthly reported, basically, that he was considering a deal, or at least like having some sort of communication with Liv. So I tweeted it thinking, well, because I heard about this he sent me that probably a week and a half ago. And I was like, okay, I think I told you guys about it. I did.
Yeah, it was Travelers Week.
Yeah, Travelers Week. So once I got that big news check mark tweeting that, I was like, all right, I have some base, because I was never going to report it first, because why? I'm like a fan account, like, because my opinion, like, I don't want him going to Live. So it wouldn't make sense for me to report that and like try and defend, like I would only do it if someone else did it first, and they did. I did not realize, first of all, how Golf Monthly is verified. After I did some digging into how many things that they've put out that hasn't been true.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
If Golf Monthly is listening, they suck ass, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you have 100,000.
I mean,
on Twitter.
I don't. And maybe it was just them doing the same thing I did without the restraint of like that. They got this report, they jumped on it because they knew it would get, because it's Jordan Spieth.
All right.
But
Yeah, they get clicks for it.
But it was, I mean, if you're going to tweet something as the original source, you need to be pretty damn sure. And that's precisely why I didn't do it, because I knew that even if maybe it was true, he'd probably deny it. From everything I've got from his statements, I think that it's completely out of the picture now. I don't see it happening now at all. Based on his statements that he's made, he was really adamant about his, and some other things I've heard from other people is that he's never gonna, he never wants to entertain it. But yeah, so I made the mistake of doing just a little too little due diligence, which I usually do plenty of. But another thing is I blame it mostly on the part of not realizing that it was so obvious that Liv is trying to just keep themselves in the loop. And I didn't see that at all. So I paid the price, but I didn't. I mean, I didn't.
Well, you learned.
I learned. It wasn't the end of the world. I was never in trouble. It wasn't my report. Golf Monthly got creamed.
Yeah.
They were forced to tweet out a statement.
Right.
So
well, I think what's funny too is when I read the actual article, it was like he is rumored to possibly be considering. So it's like, all right, so there's a rumor, so a chance
that he's
probably a small one that he's possibly, so chance that he's considering. So there's another chance. It's like, all right, you add all that up, and it like that was one of their quotes, I think.
Yeah,
it might be slightly different. Obviously, they've taken it down, I think. So it was just an interesting experience, probably for you.
It was very interesting. I got a email from his manager, his entire management team. Actually, I got multiple emails. I got, well, that was the bulk of it. Colt Knost retweeted me because it was after the Golf Monthly. I didn't know this. So Golf Monthly was forced. So I didn't see the email that they sent me until like 3 or 4. And they sent it to me at like noon. And Golf Monthly like was forced to take it down like at noon. So their tweet wasn't up anymore for Colt Knost to retweet. So that's why he tweeted me. And that's why everyone thought it was my report, because then I deleted it. And because if you looked at my tweet, it said specifically Golf Monthly is reporting. Like, so I said that. It was a learning experience for sure. Someone asked me if I regretted it. I regret it. I regret not doing more due diligence. I don't like, I doubt we'll ever find ourselves in a position like this, because this was like one of the only times where I'm going to be posting something that like Jordan fans will find like like usually when I break news, it's good news, barring like an injury maybe. But like, I have like a rule that like I don't tweet things unless I have two sources that have given me permission to say things, and it passed that rule. So maybe I need to adjust that rule. It's a learning experience, but in the end, just like what a colossal shit show this whole thing is. I mean, what is Liv doing, man? Like, I've never been a big Liv hater, and I'm still not a hater of the idea, but like this entire like bonanza has just got me thinking like they're all drama. Like they're just looking for drama and drama and drama. And this made me realize that. So I've lost a lot of like my team. I've always been team PGA Tour, but like I've always understood the live side of things. I'm starting to lose that understanding now. I mean, it's a joke. It's not professional at all. It's really just like childish almost. Like to leak Morikawa's name and have people think that Morikawa is going, when you really look back on it, he was never going. Like, why would Morikawa ever go?
Yeah. Why would Spieth ever go?
Why would Spieth ever go? Like, it does like, and it's effective too, because if you think about it, like if you're someone like Carlos Ortiz before he went, and you're thinking, well, Jordan Spieth and Colin Morikawa are considering this. They're a lot bigger than me. I should probably take the chance.
Yeah, right? I heard that take somewhere before too. Is like if Liv keeps throwing out big names, like, hey, I guess Brooks is gone, but the new name now is Hideki or Cam Smith. Say Hideki or Cam Smith is gonna go, and if you're an Australian, well, if Cam Smith's gonna go, then I'm gonna go. And if you're, Japanese, and Hideki is massive in Japan, well, Hideki's gonna go, so I'm gonna go. And you're right, Liv is full of drama, and that's kind of their whole shtick. It's part of it is being petty, because they want to stir up Twitter and golf media, and they've done a pretty good job at that. I don't know. What I thought about the tweet at the time was I thought it's kind of crazy that because it's probably not directly you tweeting Golf Monthly. Like, I think at some point somebody's like, hey, Golf Monthly said this.
Yeah.
But like you're connected to Spieth people in a way. And that's,
well, I realized I had a lot more influence on the Spieth population than I thought I did. I also I gained a lot of followers that day because like two other big people like.
Well, yeah, that was cool too.
But like happened in the same day.
Trey Wingo, right?
Trey Wingo and then Kevin KVV, the GOAT. Which is
it
weird. It was just really weird that it happened in the same day. Because they were completely unrelated, I think. Unless KVV saw everyone like destroying me and was like, all right, I'll give this guy a boost because he's always been
he needs a high five or a hug or something
exactly.
like that.
But no, I was never rattled. I've never been more rattled than when I was in a meeting at school and I came out to DMs from every single person Jordan Spieth had ever talked to because of the baby post. because I posted it after Colt Nose talked about it on his radio show, but Jordan hadn't posted about it yet. You guys remember this, right?
Yeah.
That was the most riled I've ever been. I had emails. The weirdest thing this time that riled me was the fact that his management found my personal email and emailed me that way. That was what was crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't think my personal email has ever been put out there. I mean, obviously they can find it.
It's out there for sure.
It's out there, but I don't think it's out. I don't think it's out there connected to my Speak Legion. So they must have been really like, because they obviously want that down as fast as possible. Like, I know it wasn't my report, but they still want it down as fast as possible, which I did, and they were nice about it. Like, I replied to them and they were like, yeah, that's fine.
You have more influence than Golf Monthly.
Yeah, which I learned. I didn't think I did, but in terms of Spieth fans, I guess
Golf Monthly like stink, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was.
They're officially on like my hate list because like number one, like I don't want to get personal here, but the author who wrote the article saying Spieth was considering it literally just writes about live stuff. I was going through the stuff he writes. 90% of it's on live. So, I mean, there's just like, I get in this time in the golf world, everyone wants to cherry pick live stuff because people click on it to see, oh, who's considering, who's not. But that's messed up.
Yeah.
That's extremely messed up, especially considering, I mean, as soon as Bob posted it, like I've obviously, not a lot of you heard this. I shared with Bob, I was a little against him retweeting it. But
well, yes,
I don't want to get down this road.
No, we can, because I'm not mad at you. I see Jordan. When Jordan was upset at me, it was more from the standpoint that he definitely thought that the management would be more upset directed towards me, which I understand. Thankfully, they weren't, and it's not the end of the world, because they made it very clear that they were really upset at how the author completely did it for clicks. Whereas I was just, and they made that clear, which was good, because obviously they can say whatever they want. But like from everything that they said, it was very clear to me that they were fuming at the guy who wrote this article and not me. Hopefully, well, actually not hopefully. Go ahead. I mean, maybe they'll sue him. I don't know, but it's possible. I doubt they would. It wasn't up there long enough.
They took it down, and like, just like for the audience, like, just because I think Bob, you kind of honest, dude. Just because a check mark says something, that check mark is not always like the real deal.
Well, that's what, like, I'm not mad at myself. I regret it purely because of the fact that, like, I mean, obviously you don't want that to happen, but like, I've always been very like, again, I have my rule. I need two good sources and I need them both to give me permission to tweet it. I had that. And then I had a check mark as well. And that was just like, if there wasn't a check mark on that page, I would have looked into it more, which is what I'm disappointed myself in as well, is I should have done more anyways. But like, it's disgraceful that they have a check mark. Like, they're literally just tweeting stuff for clicks. Like, and don't they claim that they're like UK's number one?
Yeah. UK's number one golf media brand.
That's so dumb. Yeah, no, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. At first, we've talked about this behind, not on the pod or whatever. So I don't know if we want to keep going into
what. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I just like at first I didn't, because you didn't say
yes.
You were just passing news along is what it felt like. But
which is exactly why I didn't tweet it originally when I got the report, and thank God I didn't, because even though it passed my 2 rules, I still didn't want to be the one to break that, which is the same reason why I didn't break the kid, even though I did end up breaking the kid before he posted it. But like, that was a lot more innocent on my part because it was out there publicly,
right?
But still,
yeah. But
I'm very happy I didn't break that news.
Well, yeah, it just seems like too though that the account and what you say has a lot of influence, and it can kind of give clicks to Golf Monthly. Like by you kind of tweeting what they're saying, it gives them more credibility because you're reporting it. And I think maybe it wasn't, and I'm not saying that was your intention, but like in the tweet, I think it was very open to be interpreted by other Twitter people about what you were trying to say and trying to do. And I think that created what it created. And
which is fine. And that's like a consequence I have to deal with for
Yeah.
like, because like
and
I'm
it's a
saying,
good-
not all consequences are negative, but every action has a consequence, and that did have a consequence. And that's like,
right. It's a good
again,
thing to
Jordan
learn.
was more upset because he thought that it would tarnish our reputation with the camp, which could have definitely happened if I had been the one to break it. So thankfully,
Yeah, I like obviously we're not going to share it on air, but like I saw the email that Bob got. Very nice. I mean, Jordan's agent, Jay Danzies, he's always with them 24/7. I mean, the email that Bob got was in a very nice manner. They just seem like nice people all around. Like Jordan's
Yeah.
family, his agency, like they just
Yeah.
obviously you don't want to
So livy,
like,
you know.
look at our logo.
Mhm.
Like they could, they get pissed about that. They don't get pissed about that. They're pretty easygoing people,
no,
which
yeah,
is
they're.
nice.
I mean, they literally let like a random dude in his basement make a shirt with Jordan Spieth's face all over it.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything. So, like again, they seem like really nice people. Every time I've ever had an interaction with them, again, when I got all those messages from the baby post, the foundation, everything like that, like they were all super nice about it, which is thankfully they appreciate the support, because obviously like we're literally just helping get their client out there as well. So that's good. But things could have gone very differently if I had broken that news at first, which I was never going to. I never I didn't hesitate about it, which was good. But I definitely need to keep in mind going forward that I have that influence, that I need to be careful that if I'm going to post something, I don't, even if it's true, I never want to get on the bad side of.
Well, yeah, it's just I think too, you're kind of at the mercy of people on Twitter's interpretation of what you say, right? So just being even being careful in terms of how you word things is also important. Because that's just how Twitter is. You can get chewed up and spit out on Twitter. And I think, I don't know. I just thought it was
interesting
about this. I think
no,
that's why
I completely forgot about it. It felt like a week ago. Like
it was a crazy week, and I forgot about the KVV and Trey Wingo stuff, and that's sick. That's cool.
It was sick. But again, I appreciate the support that I did get, and I am completely okay with, because in the end, like my report was up 3 hours longer than the Golf Monthly one. I understand if people think that I was the one who broke. Like I should have seen the email earlier. First of all, I don't check my email nearly as much as I should. That being said, I didn't expect an email to my personal email from Jordan Spieth's agency. But again, like it's a learning experience. I regret not doing more due diligence, but
Life goes on.
It's more that I'm very my eyes have been open to how much of a colossal disaster this entire live situation is. I mean, it's so childish and dramatic and stupid, and that's what we're gonna have to live with because unfortunately live is not going away because they have a lot of money.
Yeah. What was the other thing you had?
Well, I wanted to go back to your question of the pod of the quesadilla.
It's a good way to end the pod. Yeah.
So
Question of the pod.
I think what you should do is you should give us your answer that everyone replied to. I think you should give us your answer that's why everyone's listening. They've all been waiting for your answer. But I think you should also give a new question of the pod for the next episode to discuss.
There we go.
So let's move past the live discussion and give them the floor.
Well, thank you. I think there's a pretty clear answer for what, if you had to make a high quality quesadilla, what goes in it.
Very weighted.
And I think it's chicken and it's cheese.
Very old school.
And I think, and that's regardless of like salsa, guac, whatever you want to do. Personally, I just put hot sauce on some of it. And I just love
You had me and then you lost me.
buffalo sauce and hot sauce and things like that.
Like I literally just go
Um,
chicken and cheese plain.
Okay, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think you're
think
right.
I think that's the key is chicken and cheese. But steak
right.
and cheese is pretty popular. Swiss
Eh,
cheese is pretty popular. But to me, I think chicken and cheese is quite superior.
well,
I
I
Yeah.
agree. I'm a chicken and cheese type of guy. I usually go double chicken.
I agree.
But
Like you gotta
I
have a higher quantity of chicken. To cheese. The chicken to cheese ratio has to be more in favor of the chicken than maybe restaurants do because they put a lot of
Well,
cheese to chicken.
I once saw an abomination in which I went to Moe's with a group of friends. And let me just start off by saying that Moe's is the superior stop for quesadillas or any Mexican food. And one of my friends ordered a quesadilla with chicken, queso, and tomatoes, and didn't get any cheese on it.
He's lactose.
Well, isn't queso cheese?
But like,
so is cheese.
but it's not like cheese. Like I feel like
Cheese
that's
sauce.
like you can't get a quesadilla and be like substitute the shredded cheese for queso. Like you can't do that. Like that's like an unwritten rule of like Mexican food. Surely you have to be on board with this. Come on, that's an abomination saying hold the shredded cheese on a quesadilla.
Yep. No, I think I agree.
Like cooked queso. Like come on.
Yeah, queso's good though. I love
I've never been a
queso.
fan. I'm not a huge fan of cheese unless it's like on the right things. Like I
Like
like pizza,
quesadillas.
mozzarella sticks, quesadillas, but like I'll never eat cheese plain or anything.
It's respectable. Dan,
So
Yeah. Well, what's your answer, Jordan?
see, I'm not that plain. Like
You need like some peppers.
no, but like I'll get like down here we got a couple cool Mexican places. Like we'll do like a buffalo chicken quesadilla. We'll do a crab dip
Yeah,
quesadilla. They'll do a
chicken's
pulled pork
fantastic.
quesadilla. Like I'm not usually that plain. Like I'll eat tacos pretty plain. Like I can give you my perfect taco, which would be like either beef or chicken, cheese, salsa or hot sauce, and lettuce. Like I'm plain.
Yeah.
Tomatoes stink. Like there's just tomatoes. They don't do anything for
Disagree.
you. That's fair, but
Yeah.
I think at this point, what the audience really wants to know is what is the next question of the pod?
yes,
The problem is,
this is on the spot, I assume.
yeah, a little bit. I
You're
thought
gonna
about it
you're gonna need to
earlier.
like
Margin
start-
of victory next week.
Yeah, I need to like sit down and brainstorm for a couple hours just have a list of them. I'm trying to decide between like, do I keep it food based? But that seems like I'm doing the same thing.
No, let's switch it up for a week.
So I think I need to switch it up. But then do I do golf? Because
No.
that seems
golf.
too, it needs to, I feel like that's not random enough.
Yeah, it can't be golf for food. Those are only limitations for this week.
So I don't know, because God, this is kind of on the spot now. But I guess I've heard a lot of bad things about socks and sandals, socks and like slides. I'm here to tell you there's nothing wrong with socks and slides or socks and sandals. Socks and Crocs, same thing. I don't care.
Crocs.
So I guess my question of the day is, how do you feel about socks and Crocs?
I mean, that is just such a perfect way to end the pod, and I cannot wait to discuss this next episode because
We discussed it in the preview or the recap.
has to be the preview. After
We got to ask Elise. We have to ask Elise what she thinks.
Yes.
I will have a question for them, I think, for the
All
next
right.
Yeah.
one.
So
And that's why people
I-
listen. Like
I have such a strong opinion on this. Like this
Okay.
is like
Yeah,
something
I think you should
about,
save
like,
it.
you got to save it. You
Oh,
gotta
I'm
save it.
saving it. But like This is gonna be like I'm gonna like prepare a statement.
Okay.
All right.
And like and by Crocs I mean sandals, slides, all those footwear things. Socks and Crocs just sounds cool.
All right, let me tweet it out and see what people's opinions are, so we can roast them when they're wrong.
Alrighty. I think that's a good point to wrap it up there.
Yes.
See you in the preview, guys.
Peace.